Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and today I'm joined. I think it's the first time actually you've been on the channel here. We've done so
Is
much
it, yeah?
stuff.
I can't remember. I know we've done quite a few. I know you've been
Yeah,
on mine, but I can't remember if I've been on yours
yeah,
actually,
we've
yeah.
met in real life as well. I
I
think
know,
it
right?
might be the first. I'm not sure now, but hey, Scratch is here. Welcome to the channel, dude. How are you doing?
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, doing pretty good, bro. Doing pretty good. Just pumped up a bit about the weekend. We have the Hydra
Oh
coming
yeah.
tomorrow.
Hmm.
Rooting for Seth, and yeah, waiting for the arena one as well. Hopefully, we're gonna bring the victory home, and I'm finally gonna get a trophy as well. Because you got like last time, like what, 20 trophies? I know
Oh
you needed to borrow back from me to carry them home because you had too many.
yeah, exactly, exactly. It's gonna be an interesting one. Like Arena was your first choice, right? In terms of events, that would be. I know it was
Mm.
my first choice was to put Scratch in Arena. When I saw the list, I was like, Arena, Scratch, you go do that one. You got this. Um, but yeah, we are, or you are going to be up against, and we all have to participate, guys. Basically, the way that it works, I'm not actually sure exactly how Deadwood updated the rules, but
I'll
everybody.
walk you through it
Perfect.
after.
Yeah. All of us, though, every single person has to put in an arena defense using our own faction. So, for example, for me, I can only use Sylvan Watchers, only epics and rares, right? Nothing above. And yeah, everyone has to put in a defense. Then you've got Scratch going in on the Barbarians. We've got Cold Brew on Dark Elves and YST on Ogren. And they're going to be attacking all these defenses and basically seeing who can pick up the most wins. I think we get some point. If our defenses win, even if we're not like, we get some points, right? So,
Yeah, you get a half point basically. So we were deciding the other day, like, should we do a point? Should we do half? And
yeah.
like YST had some concerns that people might be using stalling defenses. I was like, bro, we're not really gonna have all those crazy legendaries involved.
Yeah,
So I don't think
yeah.
people will be using stalling defenses because the epics are gonna get smacked. Like we have a
Mhm.
lot of good epics in raid, but they're not comparing with the Ursagan Acrits and
Oh,
champions like this. That really keep the fight going. So it will be pretty interesting. Then he was worried about Cold Brew actually using a high resistance Paragon and him not having the sweeper. So we had quite
oh,
a lot
wow.
of talks about it. And in the end, we decided that for offense as well, we're basically gonna have 5 champions available
Okay.
rather than just a team of 4. Because last time when we've done it, we didn't really had the versatility to change champions and be like, okay, well, you know what, my offense doesn't really work against this team. Let me just tweak it a bit around by adding a champion, removing one. So
Yep.
now we're gonna be able to do that. So I think it's gonna be helpful, and that's gonna deal with his problem and Paragon because he can just use a stun set on the 5th champion and be
Yeah.
ready for Cold Brew,
Eventually
basically.
get lucky. Yeah. Might take a while, but you'll get there. So between the two of, let's look at the opponents that you're going to be facing first, and then let's. I want to also pick your brains a bit about if you were me and building a Sylvan defense, like what sort of
Yeah.
things would you be looking at? And I can give you a couple of clues as to what not going to give it all away, but a couple of things I want to try, and we'll see. Maybe I'll scrap those ideas after. But of the two, YSC and Ogren and Coldbrew and Dark Elves, like which one is more scary for you going up against as barbarians? Do you think?
I would say the dark elves are scarier. So regardless
Yeah.
who will be the driver behind the faction,
Yeah.
YFT
Yeah.
or Cold Bro is just mainly the faction. It's such a powerful faction, and
Hmm.
it brings in a lot of firepower. Like you have Deal right there, a very very powerful nuker, right?
Yeah.
Then you
Ignoring
have a
defense. Yeah.
couple of buff strippers. Then you have Luria, and I know Cold Brew has
He's the
a
six
six
star.
star awakening. She blocks revives. So this is very very nasty if it will happen. So
Yeah.
you know how it is. I'm convinced he's going to use her as the main nuker. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna
You would
have
think
to
so.
find ways to counter this affinity and try to play it a bit around.
Yeah. It is interesting because it is scary in terms of building a defense. Like, oh, if I'm going in expecting a Luria, because she's got that block revive, even a freeze, buff removal, she seems so good. But like, what if he does go with the Dirandil instead? Or as well, what if he goes for a Lua just for that safety, void
Mhm.
affinity? That becomes pretty scary. Like for building a
Yeah,
defense, there's so many options to go up against.
it's just
Interesting.
such a strong faction.
That,
It's crazy. Yeah.
Seeing as we're on it, let's actually stick with this faction. Why the hell not? If you were
Yeah.
cold brew, what would you pick? Like, what would be your and cold brew and YST? If you're watching, don't watch now. Like,
Yeah.
if
Don't
this is
watch.
out
Just
after the
close the
event,
video.
yeah,
Close the
we
video.
trust your good sportsmanship to leave. Okay, if you were cold brew, what would?
So I would go with Ryan over Madame series.
Yeah,
personally
because
because
of
of
the
the
revive.
revive.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like covering two different things with her buff stripping. You don't really need a defense down or weaken because, how I mentioned, the champions won't be as tanky. They're
Yeah.
not gonna expect to encounter crazy passives to have a lot of damage mitigation. So defense down will not be a necessity. Attack down through it will be very important. He might go with both of them and have double buff stripper to increase his chances to remove stone skin. That
Yeah,
would
yeah.
be the one thing that I would personally do.
I would
Cold brew.
definitely, yeah.
Don't look at it.
Yeah, for
So
5 champs especially, you
yeah,
definitely
yeah,
got a second buff
100%.
strip. Yeah, yeah.
And probably after I would go with Upsiler as an idea. She could
Mhm.
potentially help quite a bit, having a bit of thermometer manipulation, the decreased speed, uh, even chucking a stun set just to mess around with you if he manages to strip the buffs. It's actually a pretty good champion to keep you a bit controlled. And afterwards is just damage, man. Like depending on how he's planning to do it.
Yeah,
I do think he's gonna be ready with Luria and probably with the Durandil. Now I've
yeah.
noticed he made a video on Durandil recently, so I'm pretty
Oh,
convinced
okay.
he's getting ready to test him out. And he discovered what he can do, and he's like, "That's it, I gotta use it."
Yeah.
He's just too strong.
Yeah, yeah, he hits incredibly, incredibly hard. Yeah, for
Mm,
sure. And then he's got, like, yeah, both affinities, 2 strong affinities covered, so
yeah,
interesting. Yeah, I like it. That makes a lot of sense. Do you think there's any sneaky rares that could, make her
I
way
mean,
in?
Spirit Host, Paragon in defense, because you see, we don't need to have the same offense and defense.
She does
So
bring the is this the only
increase
source of
attack.
increased attack? Hmm.
Uh,
Is it?
might be, but I'll be honest, I don't think Durandil needs increased attack.
No, yeah. That's true.
He's just so strong that he doesn't need it. Plus, they ignore defense in his kit.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do think he might attempt to use her as a cleanser, as an
Okay.
idea.
Yeah.
She does have the speed aura for arena, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or all battles, ten
Yeah,
percent. Okay, so
10%.
it's not necessarily the most helpful aura, but it's still something better than nothing.
Yep. Hmm.
Mm.
Interesting. Very interesting. Are like,
What would you do? What
yeah.
would you change anything in here? Like, would you bring any other champions in there?
No, I think you've pretty much hit the nail on the head. I mean, I'd be a little bit worried about Sylar just purely because of Stone Skin blocking this
Mm.
stuff. It's like I know for me, I can tell you right now, I'm already thinking about Stone Skin. We're going to talk about YST,
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
he doesn't have a buff stripper, so I'm like Stone Skin might work, but maybe he's going to bring bombs or something. Like crazy stuff could happen.
He
Um,
does have a bomber, right? I think. Or
YST is
somebody.
I think he's got a couple of okay
Yeah,
bombers. Yeah,
I think
so
so. Yeah,
that could be an interesting one to bring in as an option for him. It's like, oh,
100%. Yeah.
if they don't have a cleanser, I can get bombs out on their stone skin, and
Mm.
even if stones, like, you probably can't get them to explode fast enough. We jump over actually. So, for example, for YST, like Galcut, I think he comes
Yep.
in this one. Yeah, AOE attack with bombs. Now it's 2 turns. So, like, stone. I think does that detonate before stone skin falls off? I'm not even sure. I'm so
Uh,
unfamiliar.
it's depending if you're putting stone skins for 2 turns or 1 turn.
Yeah, the 2 turn one, it would explode. I think I've got some
But
two
I'm
turns.
pretty convinced it will just kill them regardless.
I think so. Yeah, 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 definitely. It's just gonna one shot people. But yeah, for Ogren, we
And
mentioned,
Grunge, that's another bomber actually.
yeah, Grunge. He's got the AoE bomb as well, and he also brings a cleanse with heals.
Mm.
So that
So
could be,
that's gonna be a good option for him. Yeah.
yeah. It's quite. It's so wacky to think that he might go into this with like some bomb champions to try deal with Stone Skin and stuff.
You have to, yeah, 'cause he doesn't have that many options.
Yeah, no buff strip in this faction, at
Mm.
least as far as I'm aware. What else? What other sort of champions do you think that YST will be looking at? Like, should I be prepared for here?
I think if Shatterbones is a pretty good champion, and not only as thermometer manipulation, but he can deal
Mhm.
damage too with the multi hits. He has the increased speed. He can put the
Yeah.
increased attack on himself as well. And
Ooh,
I
that's
think if I would be YSD
yes.
to deal with Stone Skin, I would probably try a couple of things, and I would make a very fast man eater just
Mhm.
to try to keep myself alive while the Stone Skin expires on the opponent. Basically,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then slowly pick him up because you can go with bombs, but they are cleansers. Like
Mhm.
Cold Brew might use a cleanser, I might use a cleanser. So that will put him kind of like in a bad spot if the bombs are constantly getting cleansed.
Yeah.
So he he won't be in a safe spot to deal with Stone Skin like that.
Mhm.
HP burn might work, who knows? It's something
Yeah.
that I still haven't tried, I'll be honest. I haven't placed a single HP burn on a Stone Skin champion since they
Oh.
added that to the game.
Oh,
So
wow,
I have
wow.
no idea how well it will work. I just No,
Yeah.
it's not working good for Platinum Arena, so I
Yeah.
haven't really tried it, you know?
It actually it works pretty well. Now, the one I tried it with was with an exploder. I tried it for fun on the test server with Sulfurion. So he
Mm.
has the burn and explodes it, and he just
Yeah, yeah.
wipes out all the stone skin. It's just gone.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. That's good, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think each burn does like 15% damage, so it's like 60% max HP damage with all four
Mhm.
activate. And the stone skin shield's only 50% max HP, so it wipes it out. But they have to take, if you don't have a burn exploder, which I don't think he does, you'd have to have them actually take turns.
Turns,
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
if they had a cleanser being the fastest, they could cleanse the burn and the stone skin would probably survive. But it
Mm.
is, I mean, maybe he will go for it. He loves Skrank, and then he does bring in like good damage as well.
Yeah,
But
yeah, he does, yeah.
it's a bit risky at the same time, right? Throw out the burns and then
It
hope
is,
he
because
survives and kills
you
them.
can cleanse that as well, you know? So,
Yeah,
Sichelk is a very good nuker from his faction, for example.
that's right. Yeah, and he brings his own increased attack too, so he's
Yeah.
really gonna smack. Yeah, that's gonna be kind of gross.
Yeah, he actually has fairly good multipliers.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Mm.
Interesting. Yeah, it's a tough one. I definitely would not envy being YST here,
Nah.
to put it bluntly. uh, for the
I wouldn't
rares,
either, yeah.
and any nice rares in here that
I mean,
might show up.
I doubted that he will use any. Jailer can hit hard, but you're not
Yeah,
really gonna use that when you have all the other options, you know?
just steal
Unless he really
buffs.
wants to.
That's
He
interesting.
could play it around like that, yeah, and
Yeah,
try and steal the buffs, you know. But I have a feeling he won't count on it. Bellower is good, but again, not at this level, you know. Like
yeah,
I think he's an awesome rare champion, but considering what he's about to face, Stone Skin and the rest, if it was no Stone Skin at all, you know, probably would
yeah.
have been a nice option to just play around with all the AOE's, a couple of stuns here and there, you know. It could
Absolutely.
have been something, you know.
Yeah,
Block active skills.
Gear Grinder's not bad as a reviver, but oh, it's a bit
Mm,
that's tricky. Like I'm thinking about bringing in a reviver for sure, but then I'm really scared of that cold brew Luria blocking
yep,
revive.
yep.
So
I'm
that's.
scared about that too, actually.
All right. Well, there's an idea of like the two enemies I'm going to be up against. Do you want to throw out anything quickly before we talk about us about your faction?
My
Uh,
faction, yeah, I actually have quite a few options in here. So
yeah.
I kind of like picked it in mind with having good champions. So I have buff strippers, I have some thermitter manipulations, I have some crowd control, I have thermitter boosters, I have speed aura, I
Mhm.
have revivers, I have ally attacks, I have a lot of things.
You're
Increase
bringing
the
in.
duration of skills, crazy damage. Alikash is probably the best epic nuker in the entire game. You know, I love her
Yeah.
to that. Like the damage that she'll be throwing out is gonna be just nuts. You know,
Yeah.
and her sister strips the buffs. They have the
Oh, okay.
passives too,
Sakara is it.
which revive each other basically when they're in the same team. You know, so that's gonna be an interesting one as well.
Oh yeah, 3 times at random. Each hit can remove. Ooh, a bit of RNG coming in, Scratch. I like
Yeah,
it. Wait, probably does it always hit the main target? Usually they do, right? These 3-time hitters. I think.
yeah, it's gonna be for each hit because I know
Hmm.
I'm using her in faction wars. You know, against
Oh.
Baniter. So that's.
Ah, I see. I
I mean, I
see.
used to. I don't think I use that anymore, but
Yeah.
used to
Interesting.
be part of my faction wars because of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a strong faction. We don't want to give everything away here because, I mean, Cobra and YST, they can't be fully trusted. These guys,
No, 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 no,
no,
no, no.
they're sneaky.
100% no.
No. So they'll just have to find out on the day. But let's talk a bit about Sylvan Watchers. So this is my
Mm,
faction.
yep.
Limited options. Very, very few
Very.
champions in here.
I see you don't have the. Oh damn! You don't have the epic reviver. You don't have Virenan.
I do on the test server. I actually
Oh,
pull
okay, you
shards
got her. I
together.
was gonna say you gotta open shards for it, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So she is in my team. I can tell you right now, like a couple of things I've been thinking of. So Wiranon is actually coming in.
mm,
One interesting thing I'm going to try to do, I have 5 pieces of reaction accessory.
yep.
Don't tell YST or cold brew. I've got 5. So I'm kind of
Only
half to,
5.
for Sylvan Watchers.
I was gonna say like you can't have only 5.
No, no, no.
Come
I've got
on.
way more than that. But for Sylvan, you see, that's one of the interesting things, right? I think that makes Stones get even more likely for a lot of people is that, yeah, you've got lots of reaction, but you've got to use everyone from the same faction. So, like,
Mm,
for me, my Sylvans, I can cover 2 people pretty well in reaction gear, but
yep.
I can't do 3. I can't do 4. So for those guys to survive, they kind of need Stone Skin or something. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking of doing Wiranon in a bolster set with
We're gonna
reaction.
need a ball. You're gonna need a bolster set. So
Yeah.
basically, that's how you're gonna counter Cold Bruce Luria. You
Yes,
know,
that's the hope.
the bolster. He cannot remove it, so you need a very very big bolster set to
Yeah, yeah.
cover you.
And it's tricky to make it big because their base HP is only so high, you know? So,
I know, and you do need some speed on them too. What I'm very
yeah.
curious, like, Cold Brew doesn't really have a thermometer booster, right? Then
Yeah.
we have YST. It doesn't have a thermometer booster to really put in a lot of work for him, but they
Yeah.
both have thermometer manipulation, right? So they have AoE, decreased thermometer. So I'm
Mhm.
curious if they will try to use a fast champion like that to kind of like drop us down if we have our bolster champions. So we're gonna have to keep that in mind
Yeah.
that they might decrease the speed on our main champion that needs to do the job if he's on bolster, and the stone skin ones will take the turn before. So we need to cover our back with that.
Yep. That's very true. Very true. One thing I'm thinking of, I'll let you know. I was going with a bit of RNG. Not as good as Alika, but
But
Pathfinder
she's
Kate,
she's she's doing a bit of work. Yeah.
yeah, she's got the 50/50 to increase a random skill by two. So basically, you lock them out for one turn because it
Yeah.
decreased at the start of their turn. Um, I'm really thinking about running a fast Pathfinder Kate and just roll that dice, you know? Just
Yeah, I mean,
hope it
you're
messes them
gonna
up.
have to bring them on, bring
Yeah.
them down a bit, because then you're gonna use your support champion, right? You're gonna try to make that the fastest if you can.
Yeah.
Get the buffs of the increased thermometer, the speed if you can, and then have her go in and smack them a bit, and then slowly you can pick them up with one DPS champion.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's gonna be it's tricky though. Like there's not super many options. So for me, like I could go Dahi. He brings his own increased attack.
Yeah,
He could be a strong option. He's gonna be tough to keep alive, and like if he does buff up, that's Stone Skin gone because it's an extra turn. So he
I would
could.
try maybe if
Hmm,
I'm not sure if you have him on the actual test server,
mhm.
do it under Runic.
I don't have
And
Duodan unfortunately, and I haven't
yeah.
got him. But he could be cool
It's
too.
just
The
that
taunt.
taunt. That taunt can be very, very annoying. If you lock their skills or
Yeah.
lock some skills, and just to kind of like force them to go against you like this, it will be not so efficient against Colbro, for example, because of his two buff strippers. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it could catch the other people off guard a bit.
Yeah. Like this. He's
And
a
the
tanky
clans with
dude.
A1. Yeah, he
Exactly.
could be
Yeah.
the perfect champion for the bolster set.
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to couple actually. I was half even considering going in with another rare with Tierlac, who does like veil on everyone
The
except
veil, yeah,
himself,
yeah.
kind of like a mini Duchess, sort of, with like a,
Just
you know,
just to annoy them there, eh? Yeah, it
yeah.
could be. It could be,
But
but it's just one turn, that's the only problem.
that is the problem. So I'm not sure about that.
White Dryad Niash is pretty good too, to
I,
offer you a bit of support.
I do have Nia, yeah, and she's got again great stats, so she could
Yeah,
come in protecting and
in bolster, she could be the other option if you don't have Duedan, and use the other champion maybe in a fast
yeah,
one turn stone skin to buff the other champions or something, or two
yeah,
turn stone skin depending on what sort of speeds you can get. The good part is that they don't have any lockout whatsoever.
that's
They don't
right.
have any one turn bombs to kill your champion instantly when they're taking the turn. So if if you are moving before they are moving, it can be very very beneficial for you.
Yeah. I'm interested. Guys, let us know in the comments down below what you would do. Like if you were cold brew, what would you pick? If you were me, what would you pick? If you were YST, if you were Scratch. I don't know. Are there any like crucial picks here that we've missed out? I'm very curious to hear what people say, especially Sylvans. If you got any ideas, guys, I might have a little bit of time to gear them up and throw them in there. But yeah, Scratch, thank you for joining me for this breakdown.
Pleasure, pleasure.
We're gonna be jumping over to your channel now for a collab on something. You actually haven't told me what it is. Could be anything, guys. Who
Yeah,
knows?
it will be a surprise, you see.
It's a surprise. Yeah. So you'll find all the links to Scratch's channel down below. Go check it out there, and the collab will be linked there as well. Yeah. Anything you want to say, Scratch, before we head out?
No, not at all. A pleasure to be on, bro. Appreciate it, and looking forward. Hopefully, we're gonna bring the victory home.
That's right.
Two Celt, one Roman.
That's right. Give them the hard C, as we say.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.